Hi,
Hello.
everybody, and welcome. You found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle. Linked by the golden thread, we are lighthouses and beacons of truth, guiding the way. Through deep conversations and shared wisdom, we illuminate the path and heal through truth. So, welcome to this week's connection and this week's gathering.
Amazing.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to catch up. Angela, welcome back.
Oh, yay. It's been a really, really interesting 2 weeks. And I've missed you ladies, and I've missed everybody who watches our videos. Um,
Yes.
very interesting time. Loved California. It's an energy that I can kind of connect with, and also I think it makes a big difference when we stay with people that we know rather than being that kind of tourist, because you kind of get the local feeling, not only the local feeling, but also with the people that I was with in both cities, the kind of feeling assimilated as opposed to separate from. So yeah, a real experience of unity consciousness. So that was really cool. Very
That
cool.
is wonderful.
Yeah, and I think I came away with, I mean, San Francisco was more, I was on a conference, so it wasn't as social. But I really came away with enjoying the energy of Los Angeles. It's huge. Los Angeles County is absolutely massive. Got to do some really fun stuff. I went to Paramahansa Yogananda's temple at Mount Washington. What an incredibly beautiful energy that was. So, and was lucky enough to go through, they open it up in the afternoon to be able to walk through his sitting room where he did most of his writing and his bedroom. And you can feel that energy of that avatar. I had a similar feeling when I went on a spiritual pilgrimage in Seattle, and also when I went to Nelson Mandela's cell in Constitution Hill in Johannesburg, where you can actually feel that higher energy and higher vibration. Very similar experiences of that energy in those three particular places. It was just beautiful. And it's the 100th year celebration of Paramahansa Yogananda and the Kriya Yoga in the US and in the West.
Oh my
So
God, that's amazing.
beautiful. It was so beautiful. Very beautiful. So yeah, I'm back. Hi.
What an experience.
It was lovely. It was really lovely.
Oh,
And
that's
also
wonderful.
got to experience quite a lot of my own sense of sovereignty, in that there were some energies that I was connected to where I could feel myself stepping back and being on the edge, and observing, as opposed to pick me, because of the fear of missing out. It was another group of women that are doing some amazing things, but what I found, which was quite interesting, was I never collapsed into them. I was able to actually hold my own space, that's huge progress. And the
Mm.
third big thing was that I ran my first workshop in Pasadena. We dealt with the gift of the imposter. So now I can truly say I'm global, because I've actually done
Yay.
this workshop in another country. I mean, I've done them in Africa, but off the African continent. So it was really cool. I was so excited. That was really, really special. We had 10 people show up for a first round, which was great. And then my colleague Anne did some very powerful spiritual healing with some of the people that were there. So it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, just the recalibrating back again into my body is a little bit longer than I would have hoped, but I'm being kind and I'm being gentle. So that's me in kind of a nutshell in 2 weeks in kind of 5 minutes.
I
So
have a
what's been
question
happening?
for
What I
you.
missed? Huh?
I had a question for you. What was the overall feeling from the experience?
Um, Coming back, I've done a lot of processing, a lot of journaling and writing about both San Francisco and Los Angeles. And the overall feeling that I come back with, aside from the jet lag, is a sense of, it's like I've gone through another iteration into a higher vibration, and it's again another new beginning, another shift in consciousness. I'm not quite sure that I know what it all is yet, but I'm also just allowing it to settle. And part of that is stepping back and being much more recognizing the significance of the role that we play as catalyzers. So something actually happened this week. I came back and I had a online session with one of the groups that this one woman has been trying to get me into for weeks and months, and I'm kind of sitting on the edge and on the fringe. And one of the things she said in the breakout room was how I'd done a spiritual reading for her in November. And she said that entire reading, it was an hour long, had completely changed. She was coming to South Africa that particular day, had completely changed the trajectory of her trip to South Africa, which has had a catalytic effect on all the things that's happening in her space at the moment. So to answer your question, I think the one thing that I come back with is a huge amount of humility in the role that we play as catalyzers in terms of people and them hooking into their truth and what they're here to do and who they're here to be. And it's incredibly humbling. And I think that that's probably one of many, but one of the biggest take homes. And the feeling of humility of just, we never know. We never know the impact that we're going to have on anybody. And that it's for us, it's to stand in our truth. And that truth is continually always evolving and growing. So maybe, and I hope that answers your question, but yeah, that's one of my biggest take homes.
Actually answered. I was going to ask the other question too of your takeaway, but you've already spoke to that as well. And it's, like I said, it's so interesting when you go to something like that and you realize the impact that we all make kind of through the journey of what we're providing, what we're sharing and doing. It's so fun.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
goosebumps are running up and down my body.
So, Alana, how are things going with your Jeep Girl launch?
Oh, that's just been so fun. People are like, "Oh, I haven't seen much of your journey," or like, "I'm missing your journey." I'm like, "No, no, no." So I just launched Jeep Girl Healing. This is something the last few weeks I'm working with a colleague of mine, and we're talking like getting into connecting deeper with God, source, universe, whatever name you want to put on it. And last week it was the thought came through of sharing and beginning this journey of Jeep Girl Healing. And it's like, it has been the most transformative process for me of just of asking of source what I'm to do of service. And I had this feeling before around, just getting in the Jeep and going, but this has been, I'm not sharing or I'm not doing like a whole day long thing. It's literally I'm jumping in the Jeep and like Saturday we're gonna do we're attending an event and Tuesday I'm gonna do something. So it's kind of like pop ups more than just a whole big tour, but we're popping up in different places across Canada, across PEI, Canada, eventually other places as well.
That's where it's headed.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's just a matter of just following along the journey and wherever I'm inspired or pulled or asked to go and just sharing, being of service and being and it could be like readings, it could be just spiritual, the conversations. And interestingly, of course, it all unfolds in the right way. I connected with a colleague of mine here locally and she was trying to figure out how can we get this out in the public? I'm like, this is part of that. It's just having, giving opportunity for more conversations to happen and it's connecting at a local community level. And that's what I'm truly feeling from it. So it's been so fun. Like I said, hasn't truly started yet, but it has. So it's like Saturday, we're going to go to an event and I'm going to share that I'll be there and people can come and meet me there and kind of go from there.
It's about
Very
being
cool.
present, having a presence in the community, which I think is really amazing.
Exactly.
And also, it's the Fibonacci spiral again. The zero seed has been sown. And now it's
Yeah.
to allow it to evolve in an evolutionary way as opposed to here we are making a big noise. It's just about, the next step, 1 + 1, or 0 + 1, 1 + 1, 1 + 2, 2 + 2 + 1, 2 + 3, and we go on in terms
Great.
of the Fibonacci number. And that's what I'm finding so interesting, and how much more resonant it is in building a community that way as opposed to being a noise. And the right kind of vibrationary people are responding to the field that we are creating. Turns marketing on its head completely. It's a complete flip over.
It really is. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about Facebook and social media, and how it's based in still that egoic likes and shares, and I know for myself, I've always operated from a more organic aspect. I mean, yes, am I tapping into those things? Yes, because it's smart to. However, not putting the weight into all of it in the way that some people do, right? It's that, start doing my sharing circles, the sacred circles of being, like those. The people are showing up, the things that people are sharing is incredible, but it's that whole element of being organic. It's not about me being a teacher and being in my ego of I'm going to bring this to the table. It's like, no, I'm going to hold space and see what everyone else brings to the table and helping to empower. I mean, that's how I operate even in my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yes, I'm helping people look at perspectives. I'm helping people to see their strength, but I'm also holding space for them to start to hear their own wisdom, to hear where they're growing or where they need to grow. Right. So it's been really, really magical. The next circle is September the 21st, which I'm really looking forward to. The ones that are coming are loving it. They don't have to come every time either. It's a matter of when you need it, we're here. And I've been, this week's been really, really incredible with referrals, people who are, really struggling, whether it be with addictions or relationship issues, but being able to help be real with people and see them for where they're at, not for what they're going through.
Yeah.
And it has been really that whole humbling aspect. I just absolutely love it. Humility goes a long way. It's that element of there's many times that I'm in tears because I'm so blown away by people not really seeing themselves.
Right.
So the
That's also
joy of when they start to, right, it's really incredible.
that's that catalyzer role that we play in the sense that we're holding space for people to see
Yes.
themselves in their truth, as
Yeah.
opposed to telling them or even suggesting what it is.
Yeah.
And also we get the opportunity to share our own stories in the sense that it gives them hope as well. And just
Absolutely.
we've come from and how we've been able to, through the help of spirit, be able to transcend and transmute a lot of the energies that we've been dealing with. And that for me, again, thinking back on my trip to California, there was a lot of transmuting that was happening as well. And we can't offer people what we haven't been prepared to do ourselves. And to kind of so link back to what you're saying around social media, for me, it's gotten to a point where it becomes a mechanism, a channel through which we sow not only seeds, but we also are creating a morphogenic field. And that field is, and the vibration of the field of whatever we're putting out, whether it's a post, a Substack, whether it's a podcast, whether it's this conversation, whatever we're putting out is creating the vibration that draws and attracts people in. It's not about the speed of how fast and how
No.
quickly the followers are and the number of, yes, I'm finding with my Substack, just in the last month, it's grown by 10. Now, that might not sound a lot to a lot of people. It's irrelevant. But what's happening with the 10 inside of the community, they are starting to comment. They are starting to like a post because it's resonating for them, as opposed to, yeah, I've put something out. It was so funny. The other day I shared one of my Substack articles into a Facebook group. I get this comment back. Thank you for sharing. In order for you to be able to post into this group again, you either need to add 100 followers from your group to our group, or alternatively, you have to pay. So again, there's that, it's horses for courses. And part of this is, would we rather have 30 people who are really, truly engaging and who are allowing themselves to see their truth, or having 100,000 people that are just noise?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm all about the authentic, raw and real, and organic. I really am. I've experienced over the last year again, people connecting, but finding out really egoically driven. And, you know, it's you give what you can give, and this goes for all of us, no matter where we're at, but you give what you can give. And being open to receiving is so important. But I'm finding that the ones that are still in their egos and still about numbers and still about, you know, what someone else can bring in is vastly different than being in this organic place. And all it's doing is reinforcing me being me. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing a similar aspect. And I'm grateful for that lesson. It's just actually helping me to step into the ownership of who I am, not from an
And
ego, but the ownership of who I am, just being in that real space.
the other thing that that does is it creates a framework in terms of being able to make decisions so much more easily, in the sense, not us, but for the people that we're working with as well, because it either fits or it doesn't fit. And it's not so much a black and white. There are always the ands in between as well. But I can really be so much more discerning when I'm observing at the edge of the field what's going on around me, retaining my sense of truth in terms of who I am, instead of collapsing into, because that's what a lot of social media is. It's about collapsing into what other people think and other people portray as successful. And it's not about that. It's not about the numbers at all, actually.
It's a new way of being a chameleon.
For sure. For sure. A lot of you smiling. What's up? You're
on
muted.
mute.
I'm just enjoying the conversation over here. This is so good. And like Pam, you mentioned earlier about like what people call like the vanity metrics of the likes and the whatever. And like you said, you could have thousands of people that don't engage, and it's not really, that's not part of the purpose. It's sending the message, it's sharing from an authentic state and knowing that it hits the right people and letting go of the vanity metrics of like likes, follows, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's a platform to be able to connect. And the more we can share of ourselves, and that's, I know I'm working on that as well in my own stuff of, as we become more authentically and truly ourselves, we can share from a much better place. Because I know in my own experience, I've been, I would share thoughts, I would share things, but like my story and what I'm going through has been difficult for me to share because I was still working on me. And now where I'm in a much better place for myself and have done the work for myself, it becomes so much easier. Like today, you talked about, there was something that you said that was almost specifically what I shared about today in a post. And it was just like being was it the vessel or shoot, I don't know what it was. What?
The catalyst?
Yeah,
Holding.
being the catalyst, or just being in the activator, even of like giving people an opportunity to see what others go through or how we're sharing our story and those types of things, right? Where people can really truly connect versus just like seeing information. We are here collecting information, and we're taught to collect information, but we're here to experience life and share life and feel the feelings. So when we're coming from that perspective versus just like, I'm here to do a dance so I can get more people to view my thing, like that's not our purpose. Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything bad for those people that do. It's just that's their experience. But as a catalyst, as somebody that's here to activate people, as light workers, as lighthouses, we're here to share information, or not information, but we're here to share the experience and the journey, right? So that's where I think it's different for us too.
I agree. It's that element of being able to go, you know what, we've walked through the fires, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not people who are just talking the talk. We've walked the talk as well and come from that foundation and that basis. And it does make a huge difference because people feel the difference in that energy as well, right? It's not
Oh.
what we're saying so much as the energy that we're bringing when we're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's incredible.
And
I
that's like
had,
the post,
sorry,
the post that I was shared today was literally that of like, this is what I just went through and this is what I've experienced. And this is something that I feel that would help you. But um, it's, it's for us to be here to support and give of love and acceptance. But it's also, and this is, I think, part of it what was mentioned earlier about being able to receive. I think it was what we were talking about earlier. It was mentioned. And that was one of the things that I became aware of even today in a much deeper way of like being able to receive first is the best way to put it. Like that we should be in the receivership first, and we struggle. I was having a conversation about somebody earlier today around this piece, and it's like we're told sometimes that we need to give of ourselves so much and like give the shirt off our back and then we'll receive. And it's like, no, we're allowed to receive first. Anyway,
You
that was
can't give from an empty cup. You can't give from a cup that has nothing in it. And yeah, the phrase is giving and receiving. No, it's receiving and giving. You can't receive you can't give if you have nothing to give. And so, yeah, that was an insight that I had. Part of yogi, actually, as I was coming down through some of the chakras with yogi, was quite a few weeks ago. It is about it's opening. It's the divine feminine opening to receive, and then she can give. And we've had it all. We've been conditioned to do it the other way around. And if we're not serving ourselves till the fact that we are empty, completely empty, then we're not doing a good job as being a woman. What a load of hooey. But I actually want to come back to something that was really interesting in my writing this morning, because I was writing about ego, and how so the journey was when I first started doing spiritual readings, which was, oh, good grief, about 20 years ago. There was a lot, and I'm sure if this is for most people as well, there was a lot of freaking ego involved. It was kind of, look at me, look how clever kind of how clever I am, because I can connect and I can channel. Thank God for those people that helped me to develop some muscle in this area in the early years of the practice. But I was supervised as well, which was great. But the fact that the ego was there actually served me. And the ego serves us until our morphogenic field is strong enough to hold us in the space. So what I kind of came out with my writing this morning is that we judge the ego as bad. It's not. The ego just is. We put the judgment on the ego, and we determine by our intention what the ego is going to be doing. And so what came out for me this morning is that it's not about the absence of ego. It's about the transmuting of ego. And there's a big difference in that. I mean, we kind of go black and white, good or bad. Ego's not, it's the ego talk. No, well, if the ego is starting to talk, what's it telling me? And it's being still long enough to be able to pick up, what is it that's coming through for me right now? Where am I stepping out into needing to be seen, heard, and all of those things that go with it, in which case I am in my lower nature ego, versus my ego coming up and directing me, as you said just now, Lana, to where do I serve? How do I use this energy of you? Because my ego is part of me. I can't divorce myself from ego. I can't mute it into what's it telling me and where can I now be of service with the learning that I've gained from my ego. And that's what builds the strength of the field around us in order to stand in our truth. That was kind of what came out of my writing this morning. It was quite profound.
So interesting that you say that too, of the ego. And this is one of the things that I know I teach in my program is the fact that we tend to try to get, like you said, we try to divorce the ego or get rid of the parts of ourselves that are bad. But those are parts of us that make us whole. And until we, like you said, accept it, transmute it, and create from that. And like you said, Pam, earlier about seeing the strengths in it. Those deficiencies that we feel are just areas of our life that we don't see the strength. And so when we transmute that energy, that's where we accept the wholeness of ourselves. We become more in power in that space than ever before.
I like to call those growing pains, right?
Yeah.
If we didn't have those growing pains, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are, and most people would not get where they're going, right? So it's learning to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we all have it. There is value in every last bit of it, right? It's discerning, all right, where do I want to take this? Where do I want to go? How do I want to apply what I've learned? And I get excited at the idea of learning about myself even more, because we're constantly growing and evolving. I learned a long time ago. We used to hear in school about lifelong learning. That wasn't about academia. That was
Nope.
really about us.
Yeah. Yep. I think that there's also something for people who are watching, or even listening, is that what we're dealing when we talk about ego and the ego being bad, that's the 3D narrative that's designed to support you in judging yourself or judging others as less than. That's how the imposter starts to surface, because it's the conditioning that we've been taught to believe about how we should be showing up in the world. And when we're not doing that, hello, here comes the imposter going. And what I've learned with the imposter is the imposter stands at the threshold when we're just about to make a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it's not about, again, the imposter syndrome showing up for me, so I have to play small. It's not about that at all. It's about welcoming in the energy of the imposter, because there is the signs are that you're about to make a breakthrough. And the imposter is the guardian of the gate of the threshold. And when we again are able to transmute that into the energy that allows us to cross the threshold, then we don't play small anymore. We allow our light to emit. We allow ourselves to stand in our truth. And there's never a destination. There's never an end point. It's a continual evolving, continual growing. And it's almost making friends with those voices in our head. Somebody called them an earworm the other day. It's making friends with those worms that are in our head that are, oh, hi, I hear you again. Here you are today. Thank you for sharing. We're not going to go down that road today, so why don't we do this instead? And I actually physically put my hand out and talk to my hand like I'm nutcase, but anyway, I'm not. But by physically externalizing it, it stops the noise from going around in my head.
And in that, Angela, when I'm sharing and teaching with people, it's that we all have different parts of ourselves, whether it's the 5-year-old that's showing up, whether it's the teenager that's showing up. It's really recognizing, and not just recognizing it, but being able to nurture that part of ourselves so that we can transmute and transform and evolve from it and allow our light to shine. But it's really fascinating when you get people to understand that it's those different parts of ourselves that we're reacting from.
Yep.
It's not the grounded, centered, present person. It's our experiences that are showing up at various ages, various times, based on what the trigger or the activator was in the moment. And any time that we're reacting or activated and it's 0 to 100 in 2.2 seconds, we can actually take a step back and go, oh, there was the 5-year-old. Or, oh, there was the teenager rebelling, putting a wall up, resisting, right? Or being defensive. It's not the adult. It's all other parts of ourselves that are coming to the table. And again, speaking to it, whether it's with your hand or whether it's just learning to nurture. Oh, I see you. For anybody who's watching, I see you. It's okay. I've got your back now. I'm protecting.
What's so interesting in what you're saying is I've learned with, when, I don't know about you ladies, but when I was little and children get angry, they get frustrated because they can't also articulate how they're feeling. So they express themselves through their emotions. We used to get a little smack on the butt and sent to our bedrooms because children can't get angry. And so what happens with my 3 and 5-year-old now is when I sense that she's present, I'm going, oh, you want to have a tantrum? Let's have a tantrum. Let's get it all up and out. And I write with my opposite hand. I let her have her tantrum. So she's seen, she's heard, she's got the ability to be able to express herself, and then off she goes and she goes to play. And we're not able to do that. We don't nurture that even in when we bring our own children up. We don't nurture their right to express anger. And so, of course, they're going to have a tantrum. So now my inner child can legitimately, she's allowed to have her tantrum, but we don't stay there. And that's the point, is we don't stay there. And it's the same with the teenager. You want to rebel? Excuse me, but I'm going to do this. You want to put your finger up everybody's nose just like that? Well, it's okay to do that. But we're going to be doing it in our space, and we'll vent and we'll do all the things we want to do. And then we'll step back into the adult. And so much. I just want to finish the sentence up. So much of what we see with people is their intrinsic child. Teenagers need to be seen and heard because they were not seen and heard.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge breakthrough for me personally, and also working with clients. It's been massive.
And it's recognizing it's just a release, nothing more, just a release. I often say children, if you put them in a playground and there's no children that are, or adults that are supervising, those children, there's going to be fighting, there's going to be screaming, there's going to be laughter, there might be hitting or biting. But 10 minutes later, you leave them to their own devices and they're hugging and loving one another, those ones that were fighting or biting, right? It's not until an adult comes in and says, oh, don't do that, that's bad.
Yeah.
Or, they start to shame or blame or, give them hell. It's a situation that's where the programming starts.
Yeah.
Even a child having a temper tantrum in a store, I've seen kids where they're so tapped into the energies. Well, you go into a grocery store and everyone's energy is coming at them and they're sensitive enough, they're feeling it all. They want to have a release. It's presented in a way like, I want something, but they don't know what else to do with the energy. And then parents make it about them, which exasperates it, instead of getting down to their level. And so anyone who's listening, stop and drop, get to their level and just allow them the few minutes that they need to release, because we make the story.
Yeah.
They just release. And once they release, they move on very quickly.
And it's amazing how quickly they release too, Pam. I was reminded of my children kind of going, oh, where's Dad? Why hasn't Dad come home after my ex-husband moved out? And you only have to give them this little bit of information. Oh, okay, Mom, and off they would go. They don't need the story. They don't need any of that. And as they got older, so a little bit more of the story kind of came out based on their level of understanding and what they needed to know, and also filtering out what they didn't need to know. And so, yeah, there's a lot to be said about, one of the best things ever is to play with a child. As an adult, is to play with a child. Like Janice is doing with her grandsons this week, which is what she's gone to play with her grandsons. And those opportunities and moments are so special because they just remind us of how beautifully whole children actually are when we allow them to be whole.
Well, it allows us to move back to our innocent state of, when we're in that, we're taking the opportunity to play. That was one of the reasons why I used to work at the after school program. I loved it because I got to get back into the play all the time and I got to express. And they don't, like we talked about, and Pam, you mentioned it, of like, well, they are so connected and so closer to that energy that we don't understand it because of the years of programming, of the many, many things and stories we've created and meaning that we've given things. And so if we could tap back into that innocence, that playfulness, that ability to express without limitation, because we're here to experience all of I think we mentioned this before, we're here to experience all of the emotions and all of the different aspects of life. So when we limit ourselves as we can't express like this and we can't express like that. And as an adult, I can't have fun and joy and I was just watching a reel this morning about these men that were frolicking through the field. And it was literally like one guy did it and then somebody else saw it. And so he did a video that added onto it. It was like these men frolicking through the field and they're like, oh, I didn't know we were frolicking. And it's like, that is so fun and innocent and playfulness. And then when we immediately, like the train of people that jumped on so quickly to add to it was so phenomenal because it was just an energy that people felt. So they had to jump on. And that's what we're supposed to be in all the freaking time. But we are so regimented in what we think we are supposed to be and how we're supposed to feel. We're here to experience it all. There's not a point where we're supposed to stop, but we do.
What you've just described is a morphogenic field. Started with one card, it exponentially grew. And that's exactly what we're talking about, is that it is about natural law. It is about evolving and allowing natural law to actually set the pace. That was another big thing actually that I came away with, was the whole question of pacing, and pacing, timing and pacing. And knowing when, like this week, I've done writing and stuff, but I've hardly done any income earning in work at all. I mean, the jet lag has just been brutal. And
Mhm.
pacing myself, I have had nothing to give to anybody. So I have
The
been
cup is empty. We need to refill the cup.
I've been taking care of me this week, which has been amazing. And I'm only now today starting to feel like I'm more grounded in my Joburg energy as opposed to Pacific Standard Time. And so yeah, that's a real love. In fact, you should put that reel, the advert for the reel or the link for the reel into the chat today, because that's the perfect illustration of exponential morphogenic fields growing. The one of the guy dancing on the radio on a mountaintop, and everybody looks at him like he's a silly person, and then the next person gets up and dances.
Right.
4 or 5 people, and then all of a sudden everybody in the mountain's dancing.
Mhm.
And it's always going to take the one to break the mold. So my
It
question to
is.
everybody is, my question to everybody is, what are you doing to break the mold? How are you moving into your sense of, and it's not trending. This is not setting new trends. This is about embracing yourself and doing so in the kind of trust levels that you have in yourself that other people want to follow. Because with leadership, nobody can lead unless there are followers. And in fact, in the sacred group, the leadership changes all the time. It's never fixed with one person because there's no hierarchy. And it's according to Pam was talking about just now, according to people's gifts and talents in terms of what is needed most at the time from the person who has those gifts and talents to share. So all this hierarchical BS is just a whole lot of BS anyway. So yeah, it's interesting. It's so much food for, not for thought, it's food for knowing. Because food for thought can go here into our heads. It's food for knowing and food for remembering.
For remembering, and food for moving, for shifting, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
One thing that is constant in life, everybody, is change. And we can resist it, or we can embrace it and accept it and flow with it.
Like a river.
Absolutely.
Like a
Makes
river.
me think of a song there. I can hear the song in the back.
Have you got an earworm going? This is a musical earworm. And I
That
bet you're going to
reminds
be
me
singing
of
it all day. You're going to be singing that song all day today in your head.
Oh, yes.
that reminds me of, I just did a session, well, I guess it was a couple weeks ago with somebody. And it talks about the movement, Pam, of what you mentioned is like having that when we try to move into something and we resist the movement. And this is exactly what was happening. This woman a client I had a session with, and for some reason I guided her through a meditation, and I didn't even know her whole story at the time, but I was drawn to guide her through a meditation or a vision of being part of the river. And we are only one piece of that journey. And so, like, letting that flow, whatever she was meant to move into, she was resisting, or people were, when I found out more of the story, people were helping her she wanted to move, but other people weren't letting her. So it's like knowing that what we are here to create isn't meant to stay with us. It's meant to continue and flow. And that was what the message was like, the things that you carry so far, you're only meant to carry so far, and then you are meant to let it go so something else can carry it, continue it on and transmute it or move it along into something different. And so we're not meant to carry the things that we create or the things that we do for extended periods of time. Like you said, Pam, we are meant for change. And it's like the river. The river never stays stagnant. It never stops moving and changing and developing into something else or moving differently as things come into play. So it's just a matter of allowing, like you said, Angela, earlier too, of allowing that timing, that guidance, that divine experience of that path or of the right timing and the pacing of it, right?
And
Not
And I
just
love what you said there also is like we only carry it for so long. And then someone else will take a nugget from what we've given and carry it further. And that's how I think the flow really does continue and the evolution of people and healing happens as well. When I started many years ago, Evo of Healing, it was one person at a time. And one person has a ripple effect. So a nugget that they're taking from whatever they have learned gets passed along. And I know that in my philosophies around therapy, that's exactly what it's about is, you know what, take what works for you, leave the rest behind, and share. You know,
And
you may have some nugget for someone else.
And there's another thing that comes up for me with that as well, and that is that also we, in the space that we hold, need to let the person go, not only the piece that we've given them, but them go, because the way that they're going to unfold it for themselves is not going to be the way that we would have done it for ourselves, or for us to control the way that they do it. That's
Exactly.
part of sitting on the edge, being the observer of what's actually transpiring, and then I've gone through that this very week, of letting them go and going to go and do their own thing, because we also don't know whose lives they are meant to be touching either. And we're not their higher power. We're here to give them a message and for them to carry that message out in terms of their truth. And that's part of the spiritual maturity in the spaces that we hold, as catalyzers. And it's got nothing, the ego is wanting to hold on and saying, do it this way because that's the way that it worked for me, or this is the way that I've designed it, and you need to be doing it that way. That's not sovereignty. The sovereignty is stepping back and allowing them to do whatever they do with the nugget that they have picked up on. And it's hard, especially, it's hard, but then it's not, once we've gone through that surrender. But to get to that point of going, okay, I've done what I need to do. Now I need to step back and just let them go.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
exhale. It's not the inhale, it's the exhale.
Let go
Well,
of the really.
with the work that I do, it is exactly that. People come to me maybe 6 to 8 sessions, maybe a little bit more, but then you're not seeing them. You're not hearing from them. It's now they are in their flow, going and doing and living their life and sharing whatever their wisdoms are. I've always thought and believed that if I've got something coming to me for 10 years, I'm not really helping them. I'm keeping a codependent relationship very much alive. And I don't want to do that for people in any capacity. I
Yep.
want them to step into their autonomy and their independence and their trust in themselves.
100%.
So something I can share with you as well is I had a session this morning, with 2 ladies that are busy on the business yogi, and we've gone down as far as the sacral chakra. And we had, the way that it's been designed through me, not by me, is through a bridge between the solar plexus chakra and the sacral chakra. And they both came back with, I'm really struggling with this. I'm feeling, and it's level, the one was, I'm feeling a level of numb. I don't really want to kind of engage in it. The other one was going, I'm finding myself incredibly irritated and irritable with everybody around me. And she happened to say that her mom is one of her biggest irritants, but she's now responding to everybody else like she does to her mom. And what actually transpired was, not only are they dealing with their own sacral wound, but they're dealing with they are hitting against, and we haven't done our live. We were going to do our live unless I missed it. They are hitting against the collective mother sacral wound. It sits in the sacral, in the womb. And wow, was it so powerful to be able to witness what they were saying. And what came out of that was that they were actually hitting their boundary in terms of starting to break through. So they were internalizing it as I'm not making any progress, I'm shutting down. In the meantime, what was actually happening was that they were starting to make the breakthrough. And it takes a little bit of time. And the interesting feedback that I got when I connected with Source on that this morning is that when we're in the sacral, we talk about river, we're dealing with the waters, and it's slower. And sometimes it can be white water that we're in, but generally the flow of the water energy, unless we're in the storm and the hurricanes and all of those things, but the general normal flow of the sacral it's slower than some of the other energies that we work with. So it was really interesting to just be able to hold the space while they gave the feedback and to see where they were at, and to actually see that they're tapping into the collective mother wound healing. And we were going to be doing, if I remember correctly, a alive on that one, weren't we? I know we've all been.
Yeah, we never did get to do it.
So
But
maybe it's a good
yeah, no,
idea.
one of the things too is just like you said, is that we have to understand like the flow, like you mentioned about it being sometimes it's slower. It's that we don't control it. We can't control it. We tend to one mostly. We try to control the outcome and we try to control how it's happening. And we just need to continue to trust and continue to be on the journey, become more aware, become to understand ourselves more. But we can't impact that flow. We just gotta let it happen.
So yeah, I sent them some information back again after our session just to kind of help them position where they're at and to also not be in judgment of where they're at and just to see. And yeah, I think it's brought a level of relief. And then it comes back to pacing again, allowing themselves, because one of the things that also happens is if we bypass that sacral energy and bypass the healing and the opening up of whatever's sitting there for anybody, for ourselves and anybody, is the dropping into the root too quickly becomes brittle. And we all know what happens with brittle. It ends up breaking. So nope, there's no spiritual bypass around the sacral chakra at all. And even when I was writing it, I felt the difference in the energy. It was more challenging to write than any of the other weeks, and including the route that I'm busy on now. It was way more challenging to write about the sacral. And that, again, the morphogenic field that we're dealing with in terms of the feminine wound. And that's what we're hitting. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting if we get to do our live. You have some news for us, Pamela, about the TV series. Do you want to drop that into?
Yes,
Because I know
starting
that
in September.
I know he said
We'll be going on, we'll have the show on Rogers Cable in Georgina. So I'm very, very excited about that. We're going to be bi-weekly. So I look forward to seeing our participants grow and evolve and share with us. Please leave comments. I'm really appreciative to Rogers for, allowing our content to be out there to see how it unfolds. And we want to hear back from you and what you're taking from it, what's helpful, what would you like us to talk about? So really, really, really excited. I think this is divine timing. Divine timing.
always is. And it's going to be a lot around, I think that you posted as well, a lot around the new discussions that we're going to be having going forward as opposed to the ones that we've done.
Yes, but please come join us on YouTube and have a look at what we've been compiling there, because there's lots of valuable information. But this moving forward will be, the updated, most recent, because it makes sense. We don't want to be promoting something from the past. So those that are in the Georgine area, I'm also offering a Sacred Circle of Being on September 21st. By all means, reach out to me if you're interested. This is a place where you get to share your wisdom. It's a place where you get to be just exactly as you are, because in this noise and this busyness of life, quite often we're not heard, we're not seen, and we're not listened to. And this is a space to allow you all to do that. So I'm really excited.
21st, the equinox. Interesting day.
Is it?
Yep, it's the equinox. We're going into spring, you're going into fall. And I am launching the beta test of the business yogi on the same day. So yeah, quite an interesting time.
Exciting.
Very exciting time. So yep. Very interesting.
I just love our conversations. This is
Yes.
They're always so rich. Always come away so rich and so held in this space as well. And also, it's such a beautiful nervous system reset. Just sharing in each other's energy. It's just so special.
I feel a realignment every time we come together.
Right.
So where's our Jeep girl going next week? I know Tuesday you're going somewhere. Where else are you going next week?
Tuesday, Saturday, it's all over PEI, different places of PEI. There'll be Montague on Saturday, Tuesday on Rustico and PEI, a few more places across the island. I'm still working on what that plan is, but we'll keep you posted as we move forward. And if you follow me on my Facebook page, I'll keep that updated as well, so people know where I'm going to be at.
everybody who doesn't know, PEI is Port Edward Island.
Prince Edward Island. So I'm on the East Coast in Canada.
Prince Edward, not Port. Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never flew over you. We flew over Greenland and over the Hudson. What do you call that? Hudson, not bay. It's too big for a bay. We flew right up. It's so big.
Hudson Bay's on there, but I don't know what the name of the lake is. I know what you're talking about. Geography, me don't a lot. How exciting! Yeah,
Yeah.
we are all shedding love and light wherever we are. You out there can be doing the same. Do you, be you, and reach out to us. You know, we all have our individual businesses, but we come together as a collective here. Don't hesitate to look us up, check us out, and if it's aligned, like us, share, and keep this light growing.
Pass the message, pass the light. Because it's, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier on, it's not about how many hundreds of thousands of fans we have. It's about passing the light on to those who need it.
Absolutely.
And that's when we do that, that's when we all are able to contribute to the shifting of the energy and the vibration on the planet. Are we about ready for the exit?
I think we're good.
Just about. Yeah, let's just get that up. I'm just checking. Hold on a sec for me. Okay, Google, would you like to cooperate? That would be really nice. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining and following or listening in.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a sec. I know what's going on. We'll get it right this minute. So, yeah, as Alana said, thank you everyone for joining us here as the circle closes for now. The light remains, not just here, but especially within you. Let the teachings echo through your being, like the lighthouse calls over the sea, steady, unwavering, and sovereign. Share what touched your soul. Subscribe if you feel the call. And always remember, you are the light, you are the way, and the circle will be here when you need to return. Blessings in abundance to everybody who's been a part of this conversation today. And to you, beautiful ladies, it's so good to be back and to be in your space again. Thank you for having me too.
Thank you for joining it back in. We missed you and we missed Janice today. As like you mentioned, she's off with her grandkids today, but we'll see her next week, I'm sure, if not, hopefully. But anyway, thank you all for joining and thank you guys.
Blessings.
Thank you all. Bye for now.
Bye.